When you think of skyscrapers, a few cities probably come to mind first. New York, with over 300 towers piercing the skyline. Hong Kong, the undisputed global leader in skyscraper count. And Chicago, birthplace of the modern high-rise, still holding second place in the US. These are cities where height is part of the identity and where skylines are built to compete. If you heard about the construction of a new Supertall in North America, you'd probably assume it was in the US. Fair enough. But this one was announced in Canada. In which city? Chances are you'd guess Toronto. Canada's biggest city already boasts more than 100 skyscrapers with 2 megatowers under construction. But that's where you'd be wrong, because the next Supertall isn't rising in Toronto, it's happening in Vancouver. A city better known for mountain views than megatowers, for strict view cones, not skyline ambition. And for decades, those rules kept Vancouver's growth horizontal. Until now. This city block in downtown Vancouver, right across from the historic Hudson's Bay department store, has been just a parking garage, concrete cars and not much else. Since the early 2000s, developers have had their eye on it. But building anything big in Vancouver isn't easy. Zoning rules limit building height and density even in central areas. Heritage districts like Gastown and Chinatown restrict new development to preserve the historical scale. And Vancouver has 26 protected view corridors, called view cones, introduced in 1989 to preserve mountain views from key points in the city. Some developers have worked around these constraints with creative design. The Vancouver House by Bjarke Ingels Group used a twisted helix shape that widens as it rises. It had to avoid casting shadows on a nearby park, maintain a 30-meter setback from the Granville Bridge, and stay clear of street-level height restrictions. That level of design gymnastics has shaped much of the city's skyline. In a city this tightly constrained, assembling a site large enough for something bold wasn't just unusual, it was nearly unheard of. But Hoban Group was playing the long game. They began buying up the land in 2006, piece by piece, with the final one falling into place in 2024 when they acquired the old Randall building. That same year, Vancouver began rethinking some of its long-standing development rules. City Council directed staff to review the downtown view cone policies to allow for more height and density in the urban core. Several cones are now being relocated or redefined to unlock new development capacity, particularly near key transit corridors and public plazas. With the land assembled and these long-standing constraints finally starting to ease, Hoban unveiled an ambitious plan, the Hudson's Bay Parkade development. A $2.8 billion redevelopment that would take up nearly 2 full city blocks, right in the middle of downtown Vancouver. 3 towers, thousands of new homes, and a centerpiece that would become the tallest building in British Columbia. The tallest tower is set to rise 1,033 feet, making it nearly 50% taller than anything else in the region. It will contain a 920-room hotel, over 70,000 square feet of conference space, and a 3-level public observation deck at the top, offering panoramic views of the city, the ocean, and the mountains beyond. Across the site, the development will add more than 1,500 homes, mostly condominiums and market rentals, alongside 64,000 square feet of retail and restaurant space. A large public plaza will anchor the ground level, featuring indigenous public art, a 250-seat restaurant, and a preserved facade of the Randall Building, an Art Deco landmark built in 1929. The architectural design, by Enrique Partners Architects, draws inspiration from ancient glass sea sponge reefs found off the British Columbia coast. The tallest tower will feature a diagrid exoskeleton, a steel lattice that wraps the building, eliminating interior columns and creating open, column-free interiors. It's a distinctive structure that doesn't just support the building, it defines it. And while the focus is downtown, the project also extends eastward. As part of its community contribution, Hoban is developing a second tower in the downtown east side, a 38-story building that will include 378 non-market homes, a childcare facility, and a 5,000 square foot Indigenous art gallery with artist-in-residence space for members of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Altogether, it's one of the most ambitious private developments in Vancouver's history, not just because of its size, but because of what it signals. After years of pushing outward, Vancouver is finally starting to build up. But vision is one thing, execution is another. And for a project this complex, the path from concept to skyline is anything but simple. Rezoning applications for the Hudson's Bay Parkade redevelopment were submitted in early 2025. From there, the approval process will likely stretch over 12 to 18 months through public consultations, design refinements, and multiple rounds at City Council. Once rezoning is approved, detailed architectural and engineering plans will follow, which could take another year. That puts site preparation and excavation on track to begin in late 2026, turning what's long been a central parking garage into one of Canada's largest construction zones. But building Vancouver's first Supertall comes with challenges no local project has faced before. At 1,033 feet, the tallest tower will have to withstand serious wind loads, especially given Vancouver's coastal conditions. More importantly, the city sits in a high-risk seismic zone, which means the structural system will need to absorb both lateral and vertical forces during an earthquake. The deep foundations required for all three towers will add even more complexity. Then there's the design itself. The tower's diagrid exoskeleton eliminates internal columns, but it also demands extreme precision during construction. Every joint in the steel lattice will have to carry real structural loads, making the build as technical as it is ambitious. It's expected that construction will happen in phases. The residential podium and hotel components may go up first, with the tallest tower likely coming later, once market demand and staging logistics align. If timelines hold, the first phases could be delivered by the end of this decade, and Vancouver's first Supertall? That may not be completed until 2030 or 2031. But after nearly 20 years of planning, land assembly and zoning restrictions, what's another few years? The city waited this long for something big, and now it's finally happening. Vancouver appears to be following Toronto's vertical growth trajectory just a few decades later and on its own terms. Back in the early 2000s, Toronto was facing similar pressures: rising population, limited space, and growing demand for housing and commercial space downtown. With fewer height restrictions and a more aggressive development culture, the city leaned into vertical growth. Over the next 2 decades, it didn't just embrace towers, it became Canada's skyscraper capital. And today, that momentum is still accelerating. 2 of Toronto's latest megaprojects, Pinnacle 1 Yonge and Union Park, are now pushing height and scale further than anything the city has built before. Pinnacle 1 Yonge is the clearest expression of Toronto's vertical ambition, a 6.4 million square foot development transforming the waterfront where Yonge Street meets Lake Ontario. Its tallest tower, the Sky Tower, will reach 1,154 feet across 106 floors, becoming the tallest building in Canada when completed in 2026. The complex spans 2 full city blocks and includes 3 towers, combining residential, commercial, and public uses. It also features the first city-run community centre ever built inside a private development, making it more than just tall. It's a self-contained urban community. Just a few blocks away, another project is rising, Union Park. Approved in 2024, this $3.5 billion development will bring 4 towers, between 50 and 71 stories, to the western edge of Toronto's core. Recent revisions doubled the number of rental units to nearly 1,800 and scaled back office space, reflecting a shift in what the city needs most: more housing, and fast. Together, these 2 megaprojects are reshaping Toronto's skyline. But what's most striking is how much they echo what's now happening in Vancouver. Large-scale, master-planned towers with public space, mixed uses, and distinctive architecture. The difference? Toronto's been doing this for decades. For Vancouver, this is something new. Will this be Vancouver's one-off Supertall, or the first of many? Will the city continue to preserve view cones and favor slender towers, or will it gradually open up to more vertical density? What's clear is that both cities are responding to the same pressure: population growth, a shortage of housing, and the need to build more livable, transit-connected communities. Skyscrapers in this context aren't just about height, they're about capacity. But critics argue that these towers often add luxury supply rather than affordability, raising concerns that projects like this may reshape the skyline more than they relieve the housing crisis. Either way, this project will shape more than just the skyline. It's a test of what kind of city Vancouver wants to become. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more MegaBuilds stories.